Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you a review of my Revlon waver. I've had it for about a month now and I've used it a few times, and I thought now it's time to share with you on my third attempt of my hair. I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to insert some clips here of the process and then my final thoughts. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's jump on in. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to brush my hair back and section it. I'm going to be using some of these alligator clips that I just picked up at Winners to help with my sectioning. Now, depending on how thick your hair is or how voluminous your hair is, you might play around with how many sections you use and how you go about doing the clamping. So for me, because I want a little more volume, I do choose to do my hair in sections versus just keeping it all down and going through. I just find that so far that's worked best for me. Just gonna secure this and then I'm gonna brush through. I will do this for the most part with the center part. Also, I apologize for the lighting. It's gonna go in and out because the sun is fighting to shine. Now, I have finer hair, and I used to say a lot of it. It's a lot of it when it's down. When it's braided or plaited into place, my hair does look quite thin. So when I take my sections, I have just above my ears sectioned off. This piece is probably going to be 2 sections worth. Again, you can play around with how thick or thin you want the sections. This is a very wide barrel. So I'm just gonna flip this over here. If you see me looking over here, it's because I have my big mirror. So I've had it heating up. I have put a little bit of heat protectant spray. This is a new one I picked up from Winners, Foxy Bay. So it's Cool AF and Foxy heat protectant spray. I think it has with biotin, and it is sulfate and paraben free. I've had the same heat protectant spray for 10,000 years when I remember to use it. So have a new one at last. Now onto the barrel. So the actual piece itself has a locking mechanism to keep this down when you have it on the ground or when you're storing it. So it feels like the opposite. I'm used to having to clamp in reverse, I guess. So it opens up. So I have been working on my dexterity with that. So I will go all the way up, holding and clamping. I've been holding it for, I try to do almost 10 seconds just because I really want my hair to keep the wave. And the whole idea is that when you clamp and release and slide it down, that you continue that wave motion. You sit into a wave you've already created. So I'm going to do this one just a little bit faster just to see the difference. I have turned the heat up a little bit more this time around than I have at my previous 2 times, just because I feel like the recommendation didn't quite work for my hair. And again, it could be because of the length of my hair, but I just really love the soft waves that come with it. So brushing out my next section, again trying to get high up onto the root without burning my ear. And I find that when I go to do the next clamp as I move down the hair, I actually help to lift the hair so everything that's already been curled isn't being pulled down or straightened from the weight. So I just kind of lift it up, and you can see it crimpling between my ear and the wand. Now, I did see some reviews online when I was first looking into purchasing that said it was very heavy, and like I can understand if you're somebody who doesn't style your hair very much, that like, yes, this is a bit taxing on the wrist, and again, depending on how much hair you have, it might be a negative drawback for you if you have to go through a super amount of hair or long hair. So it's definitely going to be something that you just gotta get used to. That one didn't work as well. All right, my friends, I have hopped onto my vlogging camera because it's gonna take far too long for my other battery to charge. So I just kind of went over a couple of these pieces because I wasn't really counting as I was talking. So I'm not gonna chat too much through this. I'm gonna show you the before, the process, and the after, and we'll check in. And those are my beachy waves. So let's get to the review. Alright, so let me just say, first of all, I am very happy with having this tool in my arsenal to do my hair now. I really just like the beachy waves. I know that summer's over, but I just find this such a fun, it's just a fun look. You can add some braids into it, it just clips really nicely. I've wanted a waver for a long time, but I just never really pushed myself to get it, and I happened to stumble on a sale and picked this up actually at Canadian Tire, which I didn't see coming, but I picked it up there. It was, I think, $35. So in terms of hair tools, that's a super affordable price point. And I did do a lot of reading online first, trying to decide if this was the right one or if I should look at other ones. I believe there were a few other brands on Amazon that I was tempted to look at, but all of the reviews ended up sending me to this Revlon one. So I will say the physical unit, it is quite large, but that's what you're getting with a triple barrel. Couldn't really expect anything less. It is a little bit on the heavier side. So as I mentioned in the clips earlier, if you have a lot of hair, really, really long hair, like my hair is to my waist almost, it is a little bit taxing on the wrist, but you can obviously support with two hands, and you can also choose to do fewer sections. But again, that's going to depend on you and your hair type. My hair, as I said, is fine. I do have, you know, a lot of it, or I'd say a medium amount of hair for sure. And I have been playing around with the length of the clamping as well as the heat. So this is the highest I've put on the heat. So far, it's just, I think it's about the 15 mark point on their scale. And I was holding it for 10 seconds. Now I think because of the length of my hair, it's obviously going to weigh down the wave. I don't want to go too much hotter than that or hold it too much longer than that because I don't want to fry my hair. But again, if you have thicker, coarser hair, you might choose to hold it longer and on a higher heat. So I would say play around and see what's comfortable with you. I went with the recommendation the first time around, which I think was under 10 for the heat. And I don't remember how long I held it, probably about 10 seconds. That's kind of my norm. And I find that the wave wasn't super deep. You can see on this side already, it's kind of not straightening out. It's definitely still got the wave, but it just doesn't look as deep. Now again, there are other wavers that have like a really deep wave. I remember those being popular many years ago on YouTube. But I do like the depth of this wave, and especially like on this side that's still like super fresh. When you do smaller sections, it does hold a little bit better, so keep that in mind when playing around with how to do it. But again, for storage, just keep in mind it is a larger unit. For the heat, you can adjust to what you're comfortable with, play around with it, see what works. I would say there is some longevity to these waves. My hair does sometimes have an issue with holding a curl. So with the longevity of these waves, if you're somebody who uses hairspray or other styling products that are going to help add to the hold, I think that you have no problem with the longevity. For me, I don't typically use hairspray in my daily life, so these do last like all day, but my hair will still look waved by the end of the day. I think that hairspray would definitely add to that, but I'm just super happy with it, and it just gives you such a nice little bounce. I will say that one comment that came up quite a bit with the reviews is how your root looks. So because the first wave actually is an indent, a lot of people have found that they had a really like not pleasant indent on the top of their heads. I think the way around that is to actually lift and push the hair up on your first clamp. So for me, you still get a little bit of that volume. You don't see it like dip down. You do see a little bit on this side, just with how I parted my hair. But you can easily fix that by changing your part. But you can play around with the best way for your hair and maybe how your hair holds. But like, I'm not mad at the way that looks, and you can obviously tell that the rest of the hair is wavy. You'd have that same kind of dent if you had braided your hair. And that's one of the reasons why I'd always kind of resisted buying the wavers, is like I could just Dutch braid my hair by myself. But I do think that this just gets to the root nicer. I will say the duration of doing your hair, obviously as you get more proficient at using the tool, it will go faster. It still takes me, you know, 20-ish minutes to do, and that's because I'm still learning to faff with it, go with it. But when I do a strand of hair, it's 30 to 40 seconds per section. I would say less than 10 sections depending on how small I want to make them. So I have played around with larger chunks versus smaller chunks, thinner chunks versus thicker chunks, and I think I will just continue to adjust as I use it. But I would say if you're looking for a waver and you really want to, like, you know, cling on to summer, I would definitely recommend this Revlon waver. It's affordable, it's easily accessible. I believe it's also sold on Amazon, and I'm sure it's sold in many different shops. Like I said, it's sold at Canadian Tire if you're in Canada, but I definitely think that for $35, it's worth adding to your arsenal. I would love to know if you own this one, if you own any other type of wavers, how you do it, what kind of styles of hair you do with it. Are you a boho girl? Do you add some braids and pull it back? I actually thought that I was going to do the waver for my wedding, didn't, but this was originally one of the potential tools to use for my wedding. And if you want more on my wedding, I have a whole playlist of wedding things. I will have a few more videos coming up in the next couple of weeks. Definitely check those out. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. You can also hit the notification bell to see when new videos are posted. And hop on over to my Instagram, and I will see you guys in my next video. See ya!